From WSAV, the station that's on your side. You're watching News 3 Today.
Good morning, I'm Mckenna Slack. Thanks for joining us on WSAV News 3 Today. Ben and Kim have the morning off. Right now, you are taking a live look at our city right over there on Tybee Beach. Storm Team 3 meteorologist Kyle Dennis is in Taylor Square with your forecast first. Kyle, beautiful weather, nothing to complain about out there.
No, not at all, Mckenna. It's fantastic. We've got lots of sunshine. It should stay that way through a good bit of the day today as well. It's warm, but not excessively humid. Yesterday certainly was a hot day. We were in the low 90s. That's not a cool day, just cooler than it was a couple days ago when we got up to around 96 degrees. Let's take a look at some of the temperatures right now. We're starting off very warm, like I said, but not excessively humid. 84 for Savannah, Beaufort 85, 84 Hilton Head. Still just right around 80 in Statesboro. Not bad. If only we could keep these numbers right where they are for the remainder of the day today. But you know, it's going to get much hotter. Topping the day out today around 92 degrees. And while we will stay on the hot side the next couple of days, we will stay mainly dry up until about Father's Day. Now, there's a storm that we are tracking right now. You can see a lot of thunderstorm activity there over the Yucatan Peninsula and the Central Gulf. The storm itself is right near the Bay of Campeche, and that is moving north toward the Gulf Coast, and it looks like it is likely to strengthen. We will not take a direct hit from that, but we could see some remnant moisture by Father's Day. We'll talk about that in the full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Mckenna, over to you.
Kyle, thank you. In our Need to Know report, Alderman Curtis Pertee is hosting a community meeting today to discuss gun violence. Pertee says the focus is getting members of multiple community organizations in a room together to address the situation and figure out next steps. So far, multiple advocacy groups, business owners, and houses of worship are set to attend. Pertee says he fully supports Mayor Van Johnson's decision to bring recent issues to President Biden's attention in hopes of more funding. He says this problem extends beyond the city of Savannah.
We look at this as it's a sad state of affairs, but it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to be able to come together as a country, come together as a city, and utilize, any resources out there that we can in order to help combat this.
Van Johnson plans to unveil more information on his new campaign, Mission Minded Men. We're expected to learn more during his press conference tomorrow. Now, developing this morning, a pedestrian has died following an accident on MLK Boulevard near 38th Street. It happened around 10:50 last night, and according to Georgia State Patrol. Stay with WSAV for updates. Police in Wayne County are investigating a string of shootings. 3 people were shot in Jessup in an unincorporated area yesterday. 2 of the victims had to be transported to Memorial Health here in Savannah for treatment. Make sure to stay with WSAV both on air and online, and with our WSAV News app for new developments. Around South Carolina, investigators are making it easier for you to come forward with any information regarding the deaths of 22-year-old Paul Murdahl and his mother, 52-year-old Maggie Murdahl. There is a 24-hour tip line set up by the state's law enforcement division. Here's the number you need. It's 803-896-2605. The mother and son were both found shot to death at their family hunting lodge in Colleton County last week. Paul Murdahl was facing felony charges of boating under the influence and causing a crash that killed 19-year-old Mallory Beach back in 2019. In politics today, President Joe Biden is back at the White House after a whirlwind 8-day trip to Europe, culminating in Wednesday's historic summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Susan McGinnis has a wrap-up of what it all means for U.S.-Russia relations going forward.
President Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin portraying optimism as they wrapped up talks in Geneva.
Good, positive.
I
think there was no hostility, quite the contrary.
The 2 leaders reaching agreement on some issues. They'll return each nation's ambassadors to their capitals and start talks on arms control. But on the biggest issues dividing the 2 nations, large gulfs remain. The president making clear election interference won't be tolerated and that critical U.S. infrastructure should be off limits to cyber attacks.
I told President Putin my agenda is not against Russia or anyone else. It's for the American people.
Putin, as expected, shrugging off the accusations.
The majority of cyber attacks
made from the U.S. territory.
President Biden remaining optimistic despite having no significant policy achievements to point to.
I did what I came to do.
Back in Washington, the president re-engaging on domestic issues with infrastructure front and center.
Our focus is on a bipartisan proposal that focuses on true infrastructure and doesn't raise taxes.
As a new bipartisan proposal gains steam on Capitol Hill. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
President Biden said the true success of the Geneva talks won't be determined for months. Now, today marks 6 years since the Mother Emanuel AME church shooting that claimed the lives of 9 African Americans at a Bible study. Yesterday, family members of 2 of the victims had a Bible study of their own. Reverend Anthony Thompson, who is the widower of Myra Thompson, and Reverend Sharon Reicher, the daughter of Ethel Lance, spoke about forgiveness.
I did not understand in that bond hearing what was happening when family member after family member talked about forgiving Dylan Roof.
Reicher went on to say that she later reached that place of forgiveness. Emmanuel AME Church will host a virtual forgiveness forum today. Family, church members, and a survivor will reflect on forgiveness, reconciliation, and social justice. A bill that commemorates the end of slavery in the United States is now headed to the president's desk. The U.S. House of Representatives voted yesterday to make Juneteenth a national federal holiday. When signed into law, it will become the country's 11th federal holiday. June 19, 1865 was the first Juneteenth event, which was nearly 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. Some enslaved people had not received word of their freedom, but also there weren't federal troops in some parts of the South to enforce the order. At the Savannah African Art Museum, a celebration is planned for this Saturday, but now recognition from Congress promises to make the day marking the end of slavery more significant.
It's part of certainly American history, and it's part of world history. It was a major institutionalized system here in this country, and we just should recognize that it's something that happened here.
Saturday marks the 156th anniversary of Juneteenth. Savannah began celebrating it more than 30 years ago. To find an event here in the city or around the area, head to wsav.com/Juneteenth. Coming up on WSAV News 3 today, Georgia falls short when it comes to herd immunity. Hear more on local health officials' efforts to get even more people vaccinated. Welcome back. Happening now, there's an urgent push to get more Georgians to roll up their sleeves and get vaccinated. Vaccine rates are below expectations, according to local doctors. In the Coastal Health District, the amount of people willing to get vaccinated continues to decrease, and those who are younger aren't getting the shots. Earlier this year, the district was giving more than 8,000 shots every week. Now that number is less than 1,000 shots. Doctors say the Coastal Empire has an abundance of vaccines available, and some doses will expire within the next 6 weeks.
At this point, if somebody comes in and wants a dose of vaccine, and we have to open a new vial, and that means we may be at risk of losing 4 or 5 doses because there's nobody there to take the other ones, we'll still go ahead and vaccinate that one person.
Now, if you do need a vaccine, a clinic at the Oglethorpe Mall is happening today. J.C. Lewis Primary Healthcare is partnering with the mall to get the community's vaccination numbers up. That event starts at 12:30 this afternoon between Versona and Macy's.
Please, if you haven't, get vaccinated. We have so many opportunities for vaccination throughout the state. Just between now and the 4th of July, we will have over 370 different events statewide.
That was Georgia's Public Health Commissioner, Dr. Kathleen Toomey, at Savannah's City Hall with a similar message to the community. Right now, only 36% of Georgians are fully vaccinated, meaning that's not enough to return immunity. Dr. Toomey also mentioned how it might not be safe to throw away your masks just yet. For more information about where to get a vaccine here at home, head to wsav.com/vaccine. On the national front, the Delta variant is causing some concern this morning. Reports show just under 175 million have received at least one vaccine dose, but that's less than 400,000 more than the day before. Blaine Alexander reports.
Experts predict the Delta variant, first discovered in India, could soon become the dominant COVID strain in the U.S.
It is more transmissible and possibly more dangerous in terms of causing severe disease.
All of it only accelerating the rush to get Americans vaccinated. But the Biden administration is running out of time to hit its July 4th goal, 70% of Americans with at least one shot. So far, only about 53% of the country is partially vaccinated. But some states are barely hitting a third of their population, the lowest rates in southern states like Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi, where only 28% of the state is fully vaccinated. A new poll out today gives some insight into why the rates are lagging. 37% of those asked point to vaccine hesitancy, but nearly double that number say they faced barriers in trying to get the shot. And even as scenes like these are becoming more familiar, Dodger Stadium hosting the largest sports crowd since the start of the pandemic, still some setbacks, with a Royal Caribbean cruise ship forced to postpone setting sail after 8 crew members tested positive for COVID.
On one hand, we're seeing a number of states loosening restrictions, but on the other hand, we're hearing this dire warning about the Delta variant. Is this a confusing message?
Well, Blaine, I think what you're hearing is really a message for 2 different populations, which is that if you are vaccinated, you are still in good shape. But if you are unvaccinated, there's still reasons to be cautious, to still wear a mask, to still avoid indoor gatherings.
Now, WSAV News 3 on your side weather with Storm Team 3 Viper Radar, powered by the Dozier Law Firm.
Good morning, everyone. Starting off warm, but not excessively humid. It doesn't feel so bad outside. Of course, lots of sunshine, the sun being so strong this time of the year. There's no getting away from the heat, but at least it's nice to get the air a little bit drier before we return to the typical summer-like pattern with afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Unfortunately, that does look to pick back up on Father's Day. We got a little dry stretch until then. Sunshine and a few scattered clouds right now. Beautiful shot there of River Street and the Savannah River this morning. 84 degrees in Savannah. Notice the wind coming out of the north, so it's tough to get too much of a cooler day than this time of the year. Many spots were down in the 60s this morning. 81 in Statesboro. Right now it's 86 in Glenville and Hinesville. 84 at the beach for Hilton Head at the moment. Ocean temperature now 81. So we'll see lots of sunshine into the afternoon, especially for areas north of I-16. A little bit further south, may see a little bit more cloud cover mixing in. The high around 92, just about the same as what we saw yesterday. But high pressure is now sitting up to the north, so that should keep us mainly dry. And that less humid air, I don't want to call it necessarily dry, crisp air, but less humid than what we were seeing, is sitting on the north side of this stalled front that's down near Jacksonville. That front is going to weaken tomorrow, and at the same time, there's going to be an area of low pressure tracking north through the Gulf that has the potential to become a tropical depression, even tropical storm Claudette. Now, obviously, with a track like that heading toward the Gulf Coast, that's not a direct threat to our area, but some of that remnant moisture does look to move our way by the time we get into the weekend, the second half of the weekend on Father's Day. Right now, the center of low pressure is in the Bay of Campeche, but all the showers and thunderstorms are well to the east of that, which kind of shows us that this is not a very organized storm. With an organized tropical system, those showers and thunderstorms will be wrapped right around the center of low pressure. So we haven't seen that yet. Still not very organized looking, but that may change here very soon in the next day or two as it moves into a favorable environment to develop there in the western Gulf. So for us, rain chances stay low today, tomorrow, into Saturday. But by Sunday, you can see they start to return into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, probably looking at another pretty extended, unsettled stretch of weather as we move into next week. 92 degrees for the high today, mix of sun and clouds, more sun to the north, more clouds to the south. I-16 serving as that dividing line. Partly cloudy for your Friday, mainly dry, 92. Father's Day, Sunday, not Monday. High temperatures drop off into the upper 80s as the rain chance starts to return, and that will carry us into next week. Scattered storms through Tuesday and Wednesday, highs near 90. Mckenna, over to you.
Rain, rain, go away. Thank you, Kyle. We're taking a closer look at how food banks are getting ready for hurricanes. During a severe weather event, America's second harvest of coastal Georgia went without a generator for decades, but that's about to change. The Truist Foundation and the Hancock Family Foundation gave the food bank a new generator so they can provide hot meals. The executive director says the pandemic also improved their emergency response plan.
We've got so many great partners around the community that have been giving out meals to children that we, of course, would call on them to be able to also let us do grab-and-go meals at their sites for adults and for full families.
Help package emergency food boxes as well as passing out meals for its grab-and-go program to kids. You can call 912-721-1795 to schedule a time to volunteer. And don't forget, our Storm Team 3 meteorologists are on your side with all things hurricane safety. You can find that information on our website. That's wsav.com/Hurricane Central. Coming up next on WSAV News 3 Today, the heat is here to stay. Find out why you should not only pay attention to the forecast, but also your car. You're watching News 3 Today on WSAV. Welcome back. Around South Carolina, the state's Department of Transportation will conduct its annual statewide hurricane lane reversal drill. Crews will practice the placement of traffic control devices across the state, including US 278 in Beaufort County. They won't actually close any lanes, but drivers are asked to watch out for road crews. The exercise is set to begin at 8 this morning and end by 2 this afternoon. With the heat wave affecting millions, the experts are telling people to take it easy, and that means checking in on your car as well. They say cars don't perform well in record heat conditions. Michael Shore shows us how to protect your vehicles this summer.
A long-awaited return to the roads for droves of Americans, combined with record heat leading to a staple of the great American road trip, car trouble. From overworked batteries,
heat can really wreak havoc on the internal parts of a vehicle, especially the battery. Heat is just very difficult on batteries.
To underinflated tires.
Tires do lose pressure when the vehicles are sitting idle, and also in the extreme summer heat.
Doug Shoup of AAA advising post-pandemic motorists to have their cars' vitals checked.
During the pandemic, a lot of people have been leaving their cars sitting idle, and that's why it's really important before you take that summer road trip to inspect your vehicle.
Underused vehicles are also more susceptible to problems from scorching temperatures as well.
The fluid levels in the vehicle are vital to keeping the vehicle cool while it's operating. So make sure that you're topping off all of those fluid levels, especially the engine coolant.
And the heat can be devastating to more than just your car.
So every year, on average, in the United States, we lose 39 children in hot cars.
Amber Rollins with Kansas-based kidsandcars.org warns that the heat can harm a child very quickly.
The fact that a child's body temperature rises 3 to 5 times faster than an adult, you've got a recipe for disaster in a very short amount of time.
Experts agree to always have bottled water for people, pets, and of course your car.
Now, over in the Low Country, businesses are adopting new ways to get more workers. One group is offering housing for an under-market price to keep down the back and forth on the roads.
Great opportunity for us to show them just how important they are to us.
It's happening at the Sea Pines Resort on Hilton Head Island. The resort has a 16-unit structure of 3-bedroom apartments close to grocery stores, restaurants, and the beach. Sea Pines itself also. Instead of filling the apartments with renters and vacationers, people who work at the resort will get a chance to stay there.
Staff from other parts of the country, it gives them confidence as they move to the island to know that they've got a place to live until they can decide if they'd like to move out into to something more permanent.
It really is just how you take care of your people, what kind of culture do you have, and training, and also just making sure that your people are your best asset.
The apartments can house as many as 96 people, but if this works out, more workhouse housing could be available in the future. Educate, serve, and ride. That was the goal of hundreds of motorcyclists this week as they took to the streets in Washington state, raising awareness of the lives lost at the hands of police, but also to support justice for officers killed in the line of duty. Christian Saez spoke with the riders as they continued their push for change.
Under the cover of gray skies, thunder rolled across the streets of Spokane, set off by the roar of engines and the smell of worn leather. The yellow and black cuts worn by members of the Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club flashed throughout the city, and the riders on a mission to help raise awareness to the injustices happening across the country.
But we just want people to realize that we're all equal, and for them to, just come together.
The club participated in the second annual Ride for Justice event to ride in support of those killed by bad policing and also in support of police officers who lost their lives in the line of duty. The trip got underway at Spokane Community College and ended in Post Falls, but along the way they made a stop at Spokane City Hall to meet with a big fan of their local chapter.
I was just impressed with the number of men and women who have come together to maintain history. I have to also say, those motorcycles are pretty cool.
Councilwoman Betsy Wilkerson spoke with the soldiers, not just about the cool cuts or fancy rides, but about their mission and the way they're going about it, beginning right here in Spokane.
So justice, City Hall, the seat of government in our community, to start there, to make a stand there, to make a statement there, and then to go on and to ride through Idaho to their next destination is pretty powerful.
The Ride for Justice is happening all over the country, with over 140 different chapters and thousands of riders taking part. And after a year of uncertainty, to be back in the community supporting the values of justice, equity, and inclusion, club member Greg Blash says that this is what riding is all about.
I feel so humbled, the fact that we're doing this and people are supporting us the way they are. It's just a humbling experience.
Riding for a cause. We love to see it. Well, stay right with us. We'll be right back here on WSAV News 3. Welcome back. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announced the city's first major parade following the pandemic. Mayor de Blasio will celebrate those he says got New York City through a devastating year and a half and set July 7th as the date for his long-promised ticker tape parade to honor frontline healthcare workers, essential workers, and first responders. The parade will take place along Manhattan's iconic Canyon of Heroes. How awesome. Those men and women deserve all the praise they can get. And that is all the time we have for today, but stick around after the break for The Bridge. And of course, we'll bring you more of your local news and weather this evening, starting with First News at 5. Have a great day.